Greetings and thanks so much for watching this PJTV special. I'm your host, John Phillips. Well, the 2016 presidential election has been defined by one issue and one issue alone so far, and I think it may be the case going all the way through the general. That issue is curbing illegal immigration.
And legal
immigration. I stand corrected. Why? Because of a book that is a New York Times bestseller, her 11th so far, Adios America. And Coulter, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so there is a super secret tale as to how Donald Trump gave that speech that captivated the nation and rocked this presidential election in ways that none of the analysts saw happening. Can you tell us that story?
It's not that secret. I've been telling it every place I can go. I knew it would work. I knew it would work. I knew if some candidate ever put America first over the interests of foreigners who want to come here, who seem to think they have a civil right to move to America, I knew it would be a hit, and it's a hit. So I had tried to push. I was just thinking of another presidential candidate. There were a couple I had briefly harangued about the issue. There were at least two that I gave long written or hours-long arguments to on how they needed to pick up the immigration issue and going through. This is how you win, and it's the right thing to do. No, none of them did it. But
what was their explanation? Why wouldn't they do it?
There was no explanation.
Just I'm not going to do it, or just stop responding to the emails? Just
suddenly.
Were they candidates that were viable, or were they candidates that?
Yeah. No, yeah, of course.
Were they rotund?
One might have been. And in fact, one other person at that dinner with a certain presidential candidate just reminded me I'd forgotten that when we sat down to dinner, so that for the sole purpose of me haranguing him on immigration, I began by saying, we're not letting you eat until you agree to support me on immigration, and he has lost a lot of weight.
Okay.
Okay, but it contrasts to that a week before the book came out, I did an interview with Mexicans Doing a Job. Americans Won't Do, interview Ann Coulter on Adios America. So I did the interview with Jorge Ramos. Great interview. It was on the Drudge Report, widely viewed online. And I was just leaving Miami to get to the airport and go to New York to start the book tour. And I got an email from Trump's people saying he wanted a copy of the book overnighted to him. And then, what was it, about 10 days later, he comes down the escalator. And it turns out, I mean, I didn't know this. I just saw the speech and thought, oh my gosh.
He didn't give you any kind of...
My candidate.
He didn't tip you off that he was going to give a speech based on the book?
No, he didn't tip off his two campaign people. That wasn't, I've only read this recently, that wasn't part of his announcement speech.
Oh, he just went off the script?
He had the prepared announcement speech. You know how he does that when he's doing something important, like the Muslim ban? That's the only time you'll see him. Okay, his advisors know, okay, we don't want this guy riffing. Well, that's what he did for his announcement speech. None of the announcement speech apparently made history. He got to the end of it and starts riffing on Mexican rapists. Oh my gosh, he was my ideal candidate. But I just had to wait to make sure, hilariously enough, he wouldn't back down. I mean, that's one good thing about, even though that retweet that I made fun of, there are two things that were great about it. One is, boy, that ended the attacks on one another's wives. That ended it in a big way. So I would say he's right. He didn't start it, but he sure ended it. But point two, if he won't back down over something he maybe kind of should back down on. He's certainly not backing down on the wall, the temporary ban on Muslim immigration, deporting illegal immigrants, and so on, and bad trade deals. He's not backing down.
Now, he's one of these guys, it seems to me, he clearly synthesized your book. He clearly devoured it, synthesized it, and then your book came out in that speech. Because when I was listening to that speech, I had just read the book. I was on a long flight and finished the book, and I thought to myself, I see Donald Trump on my screen, and I hear Donald Trump's voice, and I see people with Trump signs, but I'm hearing Ann Coulter.
Yes. I mean, he does always care about Americans first. He was fantastic during the 2013 debate on the bill that nearly wrecked America, Marco Rubio's amnesty bill, where it's a fact, Ted Cruz was nowhere to be found, and for most of that fight, he was in favor of it, though he did finally vote against it. So congratulations to him. I describe them all at the end of the book. Trump was tweeting like mad in 2013, saying, this is a suicide mission, Republicans. What are you doing? If you legalize these illegal immigrants, 90% are going to vote against you. Be careful. Don't wreck the country. Our country's at stake. Be careful. There were about 20 tweets that year. So he had the right instincts on it, as he does on almost everything. But you never heard anybody talk about the Hispanic rape culture until that book came along.
What do you think about his immigration policy paper?
The greatest political document since the Magna Carta. It's pitch
He doesn't back
perfect.
down at all.
No, he does not. Though there were a few times during the debates he seems to have forgotten some things that were in it. But still, I mean, I think once he is not giving rallies 3 times a day to 20,000 people, it's unbelievable how hard that man works. I'm exhausted just trying to follow him on TV, and he's actually flying to these places.
I
and
think
doing
he's
the talking.
overexposed. I think he should cut back on some of that. I think he should do fewer
He's
interviews.
being attacked from every single news outlet, and I really felt like, geez, this is unbelievable what they're doing to him right before the Wisconsin primary. And then I saw the town hall, and I thought, as long as he's talking, he's winning. When he does, it's amazing what he is doing. He is bypassing the media, 100% of which, except, me, Drudge, Mickey Kaus, and 5 talk radio hosts, Breitbart. Okay, so that's like, in all, 10 of us. You have the entire universe of the media unalterably opposed to this man, and he's getting around them through 2 things, these massive rallies he's having and through Twitter.
Now, you introduced him at, I believe, multiple rallies, right?
Yeah.
How was it? What was the rally like? Because everyone's been saying, oh, they're so violent.
Oh, they're so fun. It's crazy. I mean, you probably know, but there's so much excitement, enthusiasm. People are so happy. It's a great audience to get a laugh from. They are totally ready to laugh, and that's a lot of what Trump's appeal is, which I think people underestimate. He's really funny. He's real, and the magic in person is so much better than on TV. And so you start listening because he's making you laugh. It's like going to, a stand-up act, and then realize, oh, actually, I agree with him on this, and I agree with him on this. But a lot of the things that people are calling unpresidential, well, some actually are unpresidential, but we'll leave that aside. A lot of it is him being funny, but you have to get people to listen to you if you're going to have an effect. I mean, it's like these idiot attacks on me for, you're just trying to get people to read your books. Well, yeah, that's why I write my books. I think Churchill was trying to get people to listen to him. You try to write or speak in a funny and interesting manner, and man, is Donald Trump the king of that. But it's his policies that are winning.
Get into something that we talked about a little bit at the top of the show, which was the distinction between legal and illegal immigration. The Tsarnaev family, they were legal immigrants. The San Bernardino shooter.
Boston Marathon.
The Tsarnaevs, absolutely. The San Bernardino shooter, legal immigrant. The guys in Bowling Green, Kentucky were refugees. They were here legally from Iraq.
Pretty much all the terrorism cases, and it's more than that, but sorry, go ahead.
Right. So when you're looking at the ones that are shooting people or building bombs or blowing people up, you're not talking about people outside of the 9/11 hijackers who overstayed their visas, but a lot of them were here legally. So we have serious problems with that.
The 9/11 hijackers were here legally. I mean, that was one of Trump's greatest points in his complete destruction of the Bush family, where he said, I mean, quite reasonably, you can't say he did a good job keeping us safe when 9/11 happened under his watch. Now, I know a lot of conservatives went crazy over that. He wasn't saying that Bush had advance warning of it. What he said very clearly to Chris Wallace on that Sunday show is, I'm saying that if I were president, they might not have been here. And that's probably true. They might not have been here to be able to pull that off. But yeah, other than the first chapter of my book, which is about amnesty and how that'll destroy the country overnight, the rest of my book doesn't distinguish between legal and illegal. It's legal immigrants who are taking American jobs. It's legal immigrants who are, as your ring phone is, who's doing the raping? Isn't that what it is?
I had to change it, unfortunately.
Oh, I
broke the phone.
We got to get that back.
I know. Well,
maybe we could insert it here. And isn't it him, Trump, saying,
Well, who's doing the raping? Well,
That's
who's
it.
doing the raping? It's always great when it goes off at dinner, too. Especially you're on a business meeting. It's the best. Ann Coulter, the book is Adios America. If you want to understand the 2016 presidential election, it's a one-stop shop. Certainly if you want to understand Donald Trump and the phenomenon that has taken over the American political system, I highly recommend that you buy it and read it, and make sure your friends do too. Ann Coulter, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And thank you for watching this PJTV special.